Hey everybody, my name is Jeremiah Craig and I am back at Helen's Leather Shop right here in Boston, Massachusetts. And today we are looking at another Lucchese, except today this is the Lucchese Classic handmade goat boot. Man, I am so excited to get into this one. Let's just get into it right now. Let's go. With so many of you requesting videos on Lucchese boots, I just wanted to try one of the high-end Lucchese boots made right here in the USA. It's their handmade classics line. And just look at this thing. This is a beautiful boot. You have a Lucchese toe style. This is number 2 toe style, closely resembling J-toe, except it's a little bit more round. A single stitched welt. This one, in comparison to the 1883, is a 3/4 single stitched welt with lemon wood pegs as well. Yeah, I always like to see those lemon wood pegs. Leather stacked heel here. This is 100% goat. This isn't the Mad Dog goat that we looked at last week with the 1883. This is more of a European goat, and it's really it's supple, but it's stiff. Like, this is a heavy boot, guys. This is much heavier than the 1883, and part of that, from what I'm told, is because of the leather lining. This is a very thick leather lining. The shaft is super thick, guys. Like, this is something that it feels quality. This is something that you just don't get in any other boot that is made in a factory, or has those qualities, those things that just, the attention to detail just isn't there. But this is very, very stiff on the inside, but super soft. Guys, this is leather lined all the way through and very soft everywhere. Now, it has a hard leather sole. This is 100% leather, guys. It's not gonna be like a lot of the modern boots that you're just gonna try and it's gonna have that soft leather insole or the soft foam or gel insole. It is very traditional. This is 100% traditional boot, guys. Handmade, channeled welt stitching here. So this is traditional, 100% leather through and through with the hard leather sole. So when you put this on, you got to remember that that hard leather sole is going to form and shape to your foot over time, which is more valuable, in my opinion, because you're not going to have an insole that's going to break down after you get it worn in after a year or so. Over the course of this boot's life, which is probably going to be 20, 30, maybe your entire life. Over the course of that time, this boot is going to form to your foot, so that if anybody else wears it, it's going to be like a weird sort of thing, which is why that I don't let anybody else wear my boots for that specific reason. And if you haven't seen that video yet, check it up here. I got a link to the reason why I don't let anybody else wear my boots. Once you have that special feeling, that special boot feel, there's nothing else like it, guys. I mean, there's nothing else like it. I will continue to preach the advantages of a hard leather sole, and that is in this boot right here. Of course, the handmade qualities and just traditional aspects of this boot comes with a higher price. It is $8.95, which is still pretty reasonable. I mean, this boot is made in the USA. This is made right here. And if you look at just the attention to detail in this shaft, you have the stitching, but this cording here, as you can see, the first thing I noticed was that it's much thinner than the cordings that you see on Tecovas, for example. This is probably half the size, if not a quarter of the size of that cording type. And if you can imagine laying thinner pieces of cord in between the outside of the shaft and the lining, and having to stitch around that, it just seems to me, and now I don't know the process of stitching the cording on this handmade Lucchese boot, but the finer you get, it seems like you need to have more experience, more everything, more attention to detail, the finer you get. And when I look at that boot, I kind of get that feeling that this is something that somebody really technical, somebody really experienced made this, just because the details are so fine, guys. But that's enough with the just overall look and quality of this. Let's try this boot on and get our first impression. Here is the Lucchese Classic Handmade Black Cherry Goat. This is a really nice fit. I love the hard leather sole, guys. I cannot get over how much of an advantage it is. You gotta consider the hard leather soles when you go to places to try on boots, because just the long lasting quality is something that you really want to think about. Now, for this size, I am wearing a 11D. Now, if you remember in the last video, which if you haven't seen it yet, I'll put the link up here. I had to step down my Lucchese 1883 size, a half a size, to a 10.5D. But when I did that for this Handmade Classic boot, it just felt a little bit too tight in the toes, like my toes were kind of getting scrunched up. And that's not a feel that you want, because that's going to lead to like blisters and corns and just things that are just really uncomfortable. You want to be comfortable in your boots. So I went back up to the 11D, and I really like this fit quite a bit. It's got that snug around the widest part of my foot, not too snug, but my toes are comfortable, right? I got enough room there where they're not rubbing up against the side of the toe box or anything. So I'm happy with the 11D in the Lucchese Classics Handmade, which is something that you're going to want to think about because of the little bit of discrepancies that you're going to have with a handmade boot. I mean, we're humans, right? And the imperfections that we put into the things that we make are part of the craftsmanship, right? So there might be a little bit of a discrepancy between your sizing in a handmade boot, which is why it's important to get out there to the boot shops near you and actually try on a pair and see what they feel like. Like I said in the last video, we can buy boots online all day long, but you got to make sure you have the right fit. I love the color of this boot. Look how shiny it is. And even though it was a heavier boot when you are holding it, it doesn't really feel that much heavier while I'm wearing it. I just noticed that right now. It feels very natural, right? It's not like super light or anything, but I don't notice it as being a heavier boot. It just fits nice and feels right. Yeah, it's interesting to have held this and notice the difference in weight, but wearing it, I just don't notice that difference in weight right now. That's really interesting, guys. That's quality. That's quality shit right there. All right, so this Lucchese Classic Handmade is just a beautiful look. I mean, look at the black cherry here. It's so shiny. This is such a beautiful boot. The quality here is spectacular. This is the kind of boot that is gonna last your entire life and could possibly be something that you hand down to your kids. And that's just really excites me about this boot. It's just so beautiful. It's a very dangerous boot to step into, though, and by that I mean its price range is $8.95. So if you are boot shopping, I would recommend that you probably have your budget in mind before stepping into a handmade boot, because then you're just gonna ruin it for everything else that you step into, possibly. Because, wow, if you step into something like this, you're probably going to have a spiritual experience and fall in love right away, kind of like I just did. So, and now I have to leave this here and just dream about it later. Thank you so much for watching today. Let me know what you guys think of the Lucchese Classic handmade boots down in the comments. Like this video. Don't forget to subscribe for more awesome boot content. Always on Tuesdays and Thursdays, if I can. I try to stay to that. So don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching today. Peace.
Feel the difference in a handmade pair, with quality obvious at first wear. It's something that you could pass down through your generations. What a great creation, what a great creation. My name is Jeremiah Craig. Thank you so much for watching today. I will catch you next time. Don't forget to subscribe.